If you're impacted by the Social Security Fairness Act, then you'll want to watch this video as I'll be talking about some tax changes that you should consider making with this newfound income you're getting from Social Security. Welcome back. This is episode 273. In January of this year, 2025, President Biden, before he left office, signed the Social Security Fairness Act. And this restored benefits for millions of retirees who were not receiving benefits due to their work in a job that was exempt from Social Security wages. And it's been about 9 months since this has passed, so I wanted to do an update as far as how it's going for those people that should have been receiving these additional benefits, talking about what you can do if you think you're eligible for these benefits but have not yet received them, and also talk about some tax changes that you should consider making if you are now receiving this additional Social Security income. However, before I get into that, if you're 50 and older and you want to put together a plan for retirement, then consider attending either my in-person retirement readiness workshop or my on-demand course. If you live in Connecticut, you can attend my in-person classes. They are going on in October and November in Wallingford and in Middletown. However, if you live far away and or you're not able to make the dates, then great news, I have an on-demand course that has even more information than the in-person course. In this course, we cover Social Security, Medicare, taxes, health insurance, investments, estate planning, and much more. The best part is that you get to put your own plan together for retirement and go over the material at your own pace. It also comes with a lot of helpful checklists to help you plan your ideal retirement. To learn more, head over to retirewithryan.com and click on courses. You can click on demand if you want to sign up for the on demand, or you can also come to the live in-person courses as well. So it's been about 9 months since the Social Security Fairness Act was signed into law. And let's talk about who this impacted. It was estimated at its onset about 2.8 million people would be receiving additional benefits by the repealing of the Social Security Fairness Act. In case you're not familiar, there are really two parts to it. One was called the Windfall Elimination Provision, or WEP, and that impacted individuals who worked in non-covered Social Security jobs, but had other work outside of covered Social Security jobs. So an example, I've talked about this in another episode, would be a teacher. My mom was a retired teacher, and however, she taught, she had worked in another job before she got into teaching. So she was paying into Social Security in other positions, but in Connecticut, just like many other states, teachers are exempt from paying into Social Security. So it was showing that she had a benefit, let's say, of $1,000 that she could collect when she retired. But due to this calculation, the Windfall Elimination Provision, she was actually only receiving about $400 a month. So that has been repealed. So whatever your Social Security statement now shows, even if you work before or after in a non-covered Social Security job, there's no longer a calculation that decides what percentage or what dollar amount of your actual statement benefit you're going to receive. So the good news is you're now receiving all of that. That also applies to spouses. So if you're married to someone and you're eligible normally for a spousal benefit, which is at least half of your spouse's benefit, then that also is going to be the full 50% benefit. You're no longer going to receive a reduction in that. The other thing that was changed is another thing called the government pension offset, which is impacting you if you, again, let's say we're a teacher in Connecticut, you're receiving a pension of $3,000 a month, and you are therefore eligible for a spousal benefit or a survivor spousal benefit, but this government pension offset said that you would only get the amount of your spousal benefit or your survivor benefit that was higher than 2/3 of your pension. So let's just say your pension was $3,000 a month, 2/3 of that is $2,000. That means that you'd have to be eligible for a spousal benefit of at least $2,000 or a Social Security survivor benefit of at least $2,000, and you'd only get the amount that was higher than the $2,000. So let's just say, again, you're a teacher in Connecticut, you're getting a pension for $3,000 a month, your spouse passes away, their Social Security benefit was $3,000 a month. Prior to this act being repealed, you'd only get $1,000 of that survivor spousal Social Security benefit. Well, the great news is that now you're going to be eligible for the whole amount. So maybe this doesn't impact you now, but it could impact you if your spouse ends up passing away before you and you outlive them. The great news is that you'll be able to get 100% of this survivor spousal benefit. So it's a great thing for a lot of people. And so again, it's repealed both of these provisions. And the Social Security Administration had a press release in July that announced that they've made 3.1 million payments. So about 300,000 more people have gotten payments than they originally estimated, and they've paid out about $17 billion. They also say in their press release that they're about 5 months ahead of schedule. So many people have already received their money, but some are still waiting. So, if you're still waiting, I hope you'll get your money soon. So exactly, who is eligible? As I said before, it's really teachers or state employees that work for a state or for a municipality that is exempt from paying into Social Security wages. So it could be either your own benefit, as I said before, that you taught or you worked in a job where you paid into Social Security and then you worked in one where you didn't. So therefore, you're going to get 100% of whatever your Social Security benefit is. Or if you are married to somebody and you're receiving a pension where that pension was from a job that was exempt from paying the Social Security wages, then you're going to be eligible for either a spousal benefit or a survivor benefit equal to at least 50% of your spouse's benefit or 100% of their survivor benefit. So back to my example before, let's say again, you're a teacher in Connecticut, you're getting a pension of $3,000 a month, your spouse is getting $3,000 a month from Social Security. Normally before this, you would not be eligible for any spousal benefit, but now you can apply and get at least half of your spouse's benefit, provided you are applying for your benefit when you reach your full retirement age. That's the one big stipulation. So if your full retirement age is 67, you'd have to be at least 67 to apply to get that full 50% spousal benefit. So if you haven't done that, you weren't aware of this, a lot of people are not aware. It was really probably more people that were already receiving benefits that were the most aware, because Social Security, without you even doing anything, made that happen. I've heard from multiple clients that they didn't even do anything, and all of a sudden they got they made up about, it was a little over a year of payments retroactively were paid to them, and then additionally their monthly payments going forward were automatically increased. So that happened. But it's for those people that maybe never filed because they didn't think they were eligible for a spousal benefit. Those are the people that still need to file. So if you're one of those people that hasn't filed, make sure you go to ssa.gov and you file for your benefits. Also, when you do retire, maybe you weren't thinking you're going to be eligible for these benefits, but you now want to be looking into that by contacting the Social Security Administration to find out what you're eligible for. So tax changes. This is obviously additional income for anyone receiving it. So you need to be aware that you might end up owing tax on this money, and what do you need to do about that? So how is tax on Social Security determined? Well, there's a calculation that's done, and it first takes into account your adjusted gross income. So adjusted gross income is any earned income, that's IRA distributions, that's pensions you're receiving, that's dividends, that's interest, that is all earned income. So you take that number plus half of your Social Security benefit, plus any tax-exempt interest, so interest from municipal bonds, and that is how Social Security determines the amount of your Social Security that is taxable. So what happens is it's then based on your marital status. So if you're married filing jointly, if that combined income number is less than $32,000, then none of your Social Security is taxable. If that number is between $32,000 and $44,000, then up to 50% of your Social Security is included in your income. Doesn't mean you pay 50% tax on it. It just means half is included. So let's just say that number is $34,000. Half of that is $17,000. Then $17,000 gets reported on your income tax return, added to your other adjusted gross income to determine the tax that you owe on that $17,000. If that combined income number is more than $44,000, then 85% of that number gets included in your taxable income. And then for an individual, if that combined income is less than $25,000, then none of your Social Security is reported as taxable income. If that number is between $25,000 and $34,000, then 50% of your Social Security is reported as taxable income. And if it's more than $34,000, then 85% is reported as taxable income. So you first have to do that calculation. It's not a straight forward for everybody that everybody pays tax on their Social Security. You first have to determine that combined income number. So once you determine that combined income number, then you could determine how much of that Social Security income is taxable to then determine your taxable income for the year. So there are a few steps there, and I would say reaching out to your accountant. If you don't have one, your financial advisor. We at Morrissey Wealth Management do a lot of tax planning for clients. So this is an active conversation we're having with clients to talk about their tax withholding, especially for clients that are now receiving this additional Social Security income. So feel free to reach out to us. But so once you determine that, then you need to decide if taxes are owed, how do you then account for those taxes? Because if you don't pay the tax on this, let's say you end up owing $3,000 or $4,000 of tax that you didn't know you owed, you're going to owe the tax, obviously. So you're going to need to make the payment, plus you're probably going to need to pay penalties. So to avoid that, you can increase your withholding now. You could also make an estimated tax payment. We just got past when the quarterly estimated taxes are due. They were due by September 15th. The next payment's due January 15th. So by making those payments, it therefore offsets what you're going to owe at the end of the year, helping reduce penalties. So in addition to that, you could increase your withholding on other income sources. If you're getting a pension, maybe you could increase the tax withholding on that. If you're taking money out of your retirement accounts, your IRAs or 401ks, you could increase the withholding on that. Or if you have earned income, you could increase the withholding there too. Another option is that Social Security does allow you to withhold federal income tax. There is a form, it's form W4V, and it does give you the option for 4 different withholding rates: 7%, 10%, 12%, and 22%. So right there from Social Security, before you even get the money, you can have some of it withheld for federal tax. So that is also another option. If you don't have a lot of other income coming in, that might be your best option other than filing and paying quarterly estimated taxes. Now, also keep in mind, if you live in a state that has state income tax, there's probably also state income tax owed on your Social Security benefit. Unfortunately, Social Security does not allow you to withhold state income tax. So that needs to be accounted for separately. That could either be done by increasing withholding on other income sources, as we said. Probably for retirees, the easiest way to do that is on IRA distributions. And for people still working, you could increase your withholding on your earned income, or you might have to pay quarterly estimated taxes to the state to make sure that you satisfy that. But again, speaking with your financial advisor and your accountant can be very helpful to make sure that you don't get a tax surprise. It's wonderful that you've now gotten this additional income, but you don't want to be surprised that you have to write a large payment at the end of the year and owe interest or penalties. You really want to try to avoid that. So I hope this is helpful for those that are receiving this additional money from the Social Security Fairness Act. And for those that are not receiving it, make sure you take action to find out what you're eligible for and also apply for benefits if you are eligible to receive them now. And as always, if you have a listener question you want to have considered for a future episode, head over to retirewithryan.com and click on Ask a Question. You can reach out to us for help. And if you're looking for another financial advisor, you can also check out findmyfiduciary.com, where we have other fee-only financial advisors that you can check out and get some help that way too. Have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to talking to you next Tuesday. Take care.